What should our plan be for assessment collection going forward? So our new normal is that assessment collection is going to be different than it has been in the past. And I think some of you may have seen in the newspaper that our governor has put in place a stop of evictions, for a time period in Arizona right now. And also that many federally funded institutions and banks are not going to be foreclosing for non-payment of mortgage payments or deed of trust payments. I have not seen anything yet from our governor putting a stay or a stop on consumer debt collections, which would be what assessment collection in Arizona would be classified as. So as of right now, there is no prohibition for associations continuing to collect unpaid assessments. That being said, I think this is a very delicate subject and sensitive subject right now in our country and in our state. And we need to really think about how we handle these collections over the next 90 days. And our firm is also working on a cheat sheet right now to talk about collection of assessments in the pandemic. And we're going to be releasing that early next week. And so what I would suggest just as a starting point is make sure that today or tomorrow you are communicating with your owners regarding the importance of paying their assessments during this difficult time in our country, and reminding them that many of the services that are provided to the association we need to continue to provide to our community, such as garbage collection and maintenance of the common areas, landscaping. We still have to pay those bills. And so trying to encourage people to, continue to pay their assessments, get people signed up for auto debit so that it makes it easier for them to pay assessments. And then I think we need to really take a look at what our financial condition is for each association on April 16th and start looking for trends. Hopefully we will find that this pandemic is something that is going to not be around for many, many months. But I think we should all have a discussion, and you're welcome to call our firm on the 16th of April, and let's talk numbers. Let's look at what the reality of the situation is, what our percentage of owners are that are paying, and continue to communicate with the owners between now and April 15th, reminding them how important it is for our association to continue paying. And then once we have the numbers, once the April assessment is past due, I think we need to come up with a strategy for your association. We all should be looking at our collection policies right now to make sure that we are have one in place, and that what our plan is going to be once we determine how the assessment payments in April go for our associations. One question that we've received is, should we still collect assessments from owners during the pandemic? Yes, of course. We have an obligation under association documents that associations should still be collecting and sending out their normal communications regarding the importance of payment of assessments during this time. One question I had from an association is, should we institute a moratorium on paying assessments just to help people out? Well, I think we have to remember that this is a business that we're running here, and our business is counting on funds to ensure that the association business continues forward. And so an association just making a decision that, hey, we're not going to collect assessments, that would not be a business decision that is in the best interests of the association at this time. What are some things that associations can do would be to think about what are some services during this time that we might be able to get rid of or cut back. And you also, if you have any direct employees in your association, you should be consulting with our law firm about what your plans and procedures are going to be in light of several new federal laws that have new requirements for small businesses to pay employees that may be affected by the pandemic. So be sure you're contacting our firm to talk through those issues if you have any direct employees for your association. And also, if you're thinking about limiting or cutting back some of the services within your community, it's also a really good idea to talk with our firm so that we are making sure that you're making good decisions on that. Can we still file lawsuits against owners who don't pay assessments? This is a very delicate situation right now in Arizona. I definitely don't want your association to be characterized as an association that is being insensitive to the needs of owners during this time. And so if you are thinking about filing a lawsuit against owners, including a foreclosure or a justice court action, I think we really should have an open discussion with your legal team, with your law firm that's representing you. Hopefully it's our firm. And let's talk about what would be a good strategy on that over the next 30, 60, 90 days. We definitely are still suggesting that associations send reminder notices and place liens on properties once the amount that's owed is at the threshold that your association records liens. But I think we need to have more discussion on whether it's a good idea to be filing lawsuits and foreclosures during this difficult time in our country. Do you have any suggestions to help owners or associations to get owners to pay assessments? I think the best suggestion I can give you right now is talk to your owners about the importance of paying. Maybe send out a reminder either today or tomorrow, and remind people that we need the funding for our association to continue on with the business of our association and to provide amenities, and to make sure that our property values in the association continue to be maintained. And so be sure to be providing that communication to the owners over the next few days. And also please encourage your owners to sign up for auto debit, because that is just a surefire way to make sure that we continue to have owners paying assessments going forward. How should an association respond to a resident's request for an assessment reduction if we have closed common areas and facilities? I knew this question was coming, and I actually got it for the first time yesterday. So many associations are closing their pools, closing their clubhouse, closing their gyms, and let's face it, we have a lot of owners home. And let's face it, we have a lot of owners home who aren't happy about being home. And so we have a number of people who are becoming more agitated and, sending more emails to the association and the manager regarding how, they're unhappy that they can't go to the pool or they can't use the gym. And they want to know, hey, am I going to get a reduction on my assessments because I can't use these amenities during this time? And our answer in response has been absolutely no. Unfortunately, we do have fixed expenses in an association. And, this pandemic is something that none of us could have predicted, none of us were ready for. And the association is doing its best to protect the safety and health of all owners. And while we hope we can open the common areas and have everything back to normal as soon as possible, we do have to follow our government's orders, and they can't be open at this time. And many of these expenses, are fixed expenses, and we still have to pay, even though those amenities can't be used. That's a great question. You might even want to, if you're sending out communications to your owners, and what I'm finding is that the A+ associations, they are regularly communicating with their owners every week about new developments. As a matter of fact, I got an email from an association that I thought was just such a great idea. They sent out an email talking about COVID-19 scams that many of their residents were receiving, information by email or phone calls. And a lot of these things were, not legitimate businesses. And so the association took the time to send out an email reminding their residents to be careful of these scams. And I mean, it's not just that. I mean, there's also, you can give updates on different things that are happening in the community. If you were supposed to have an annual meeting, you may be telling them when it's going to be postponed to, or giving them new information regarding resources that the state may be providing, or maybe even providing links to state resources or information to help your owners during this time. But I think the associations that communicate the best, they always have the fewest problems. So keep that in mind as your association is navigating these difficult times.